Welcome. This is a video about the CAD converter in VWXLight. I already have opened the software VWXLight and also loaded a 3D face scan, so we only have to open the CAD converter by pressing this button. And now what we have to do first is we have to resize the image to the size in which we want to laser it, so according to the glass shape and size which you use. So in this case I just say 44. These values are in millimeters. What you see is that the other sides, Y and Z, are changing accordingly because you want to have the image stay proportional. You will also get a factor. What that means I'll come to later on. In order for the resize to take effect, you have to click the resize button. If you don't do that, you will get a notice before saving the CAD file. Okay, then what you see over here is the XY distance and the L distance. XY distance is the point distances of points in XY in millimeters, and the L distance is the distance between two layers, respectively the distance in Z. These values depend on the type and wavelength of your laser machine, and they're usually set once and then left that way all the time. Okay, then this smooth button over here is for smoothing smoothing an image, but it will also have an effect on images where you have a sharp skin and you have a shadow here in the beneath the chin on the neck. If you click that smooth button, it will usually fill up this space in between. But be careful not using this button too often, not more than 2 to 3 times, otherwise the picture will look too smooth and unnaturally. If you save a file in the CAD converter, it will be saved by default in the VFS folder and then CAD folder on your local hard drive, but you can change that by clicking this button and choosing a new folder. Okay, before you save a file, what you need to do is you need to put in the new raster settings. Clicking this button over here will put everything back to normal, to default 0. What is important for you is that if you set the raster settings, you have to have the image in 1:1 mode in order for you to have a good look on the image and the effect of the sliders, the brightness, the gain, and the sharpness slider. Okay, first of all we use the sharpness slider and you can see the effect it has on the image. Be careful not to have too much sharpness as this brings out wrinkles and the image would look unnaturally. So usually if you have used the scan area big, sharpness in the area of 3 to 4 is what you need, but of course you can determine that by yourself by just simply looking at the picture and moving the slider. When you use the scan area half in the VitroScan, then usually the sharpness has to be somewhere around 7, 8, 9, something like this. But in this case it was taken with big. So then the brightness and the gain slider. Gain means the overall amount of points, so if you move it to the negative side you can see that the whole image is disappearing at once, or the overall amount of points is increasing if you move it to the right side, so on the negative in the positive side. The brightness is dark areas disappear first and bright areas last, and on the other, if you move it to the other side, white areas become faster, stronger than dark areas, basically. In this case I would increase the brightness and the gain a bit, and I want to make sure that on the face or on the clothes I will avoid having large white areas which will appear, like this one over here. As you can see, if I increase the brightness a bit, I have a complete white area without some black marks in it. I want to avoid that, especially on the face. Like on the cheeks usually are the spaces where this happens, because this looks very unnatural later on in the glass. So I just want to have the image before these white areas appear. Now I can save the image. Everything is fine. I have 4 buttons over here. I have Save CAD and Save CAD As. If I press the Save CAD button, it will save the file under the same name as the 3DC file, and it will save it by default with 3 layers, meaning that this image will be generated 3 times and put 3 times behind each other with different raster settings, but always on basis of the ones which you have set. And this is something which we do, which makes the image look much more plastic and better later on in the image, in the glass. So if you press the Save CAD As button, you can also change the name of the image or the folder where to save it for this particular image. And then you have a Save CAD 5L button and a Save CAD 5L As. 5L means 5 layers, so if you use this button, the image will be saved with 5 layers instead of 3 layers, which is the default setting for these buttons over here. By the way, the number of points which are in the first layer are indicated here. This gives you already a good hint on how large the file will be in terms of points later on if you use 3 or 5 layers. Of course, it's not the final number of points, but it's already a good indication for you. So in this case, I'll simply save it as a 5-layer image. So I press Save CAD 5L and the image is being generated. So now he's sorting the points for a faster laser production. This takes some time. While he's processing it, I want to explain you how you can change the settings for this button over here. So in this button, you can determine yourself how many layers the image should be created with. And how you do that is you have to open the VWXLight ini file, and the VWXLight ini file is located in Documents and Settings, All Users, Application Data, Vitro, VWXLight, and then you have a VWXLight ini and you have a VWXLight_cc ini, and the _cc ini is the one which we want to have. So we open it with the editor, and we have an entry over here which is called layer equals 5. And if we do change that, for example, we change it to the number of 7, we say File, Save, we close that one, close this one. Okay, and now this image was generated, so it's totally fine. What you can do now is you can click on VWXLight in order to load the point cloud into VWXLight again and to edit it, or you can simply just close the program and he will go back to the 3DC file. I will just close it because I want to reopen the CAD converter right away, and I want to show you that now the buttons have changed. So now you see it says 7L. So according to my changement, which I did in the ini, now the CAD file will be generated with 7 layers instead of 5, because this is what I put in as a value. So you can change it to the way or to the value which you want to have. Okay, that's it about the CAD converter.